What are the weak sides of your leadership?
I do not like negativity. And so in my early years, since I started running companies right from the beginning, my historic vulnerability that I continue to work on and is far great in a better place than it used to be, is in my unbelievable disdain for confrontation and negativity, I wasn't candorous enough and would surprise people when I would fire them. And also created a level of entitlement, which usually led to the firing, because they weren't getting negative feedback, they were just getting positive reinforcement.
And then suddenly something happened.
And they became delusional. No, and unfortunately, it wasn't that suddenly something happened. For the last 3 years, they've always been bad at these three things. I just don't focus on negatives, I focus on positives. They don't hear anything about it, and then they get called into the meeting probably thinking they're about to get a raise because 4 weeks ago I gave them a high five about something they do well, and then I'm like, hey Jan, hey Rick, you know, we're gonna have to talk about you not being here, and they would be flabbergasted, and I would defend my actions to myself in my 20s and early 30s on they're delusional, how did they not know, couldn't they tell? But a lot of people don't deploy the self-awareness that I was gifted with. It's not, you know, and more importantly, employees always have other side, like everybody, there's always two sides to a story. So over the last 3 or 4 years, and I'll tell you that my brother AJ, who was 22 years old when he became my partner at VaynerMedia 10 years ago, he is far, you know, he's a good balance. My dad is overcritical and only focused on the negative. So I think I naturally was over positive, but then being in the same company with him and a father-son, I almost had to be 100% positive to offset 100% negative, and that's the truth.
So you were a little dishonest, you didn't want to really...
I hate that I'm smiling because I hate that it's, yes, I was a little dishonest and a lot dishonest. I would not fully articulate my thoughts to my employees. I would try to grow so much that it could hide all their shortcomings, but then inevitably, as my companies grew, you know, it's one thing when you have a family liquor store business and you have 10 employees, you can manage all of them. When I started getting to 80 and 100 in that business, other people had to manage, and that's when my vulnerabilities exposed themselves because I didn't recognize what I was actually doing. And now at Vayner, with 1,000, it's become even bigger because even the quality, let's call it what it is, the executives at VaynerMedia are a different quality than a stock boy in a liquor store when they're 19 at a liquor store. So I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. My brother started that process because I admired his level of candor even as a kid because it's a natural skill for him. And then 5 or 4 years ago, Vayner was getting big. We were at 400 or 500 people. I was carrying so much of the financial and emotional burden, back to micromanaging, in the macro. That I could see, because I'm a practical operator, that there was a financial vulnerability, that if I wasn't gonna get more out of the top 50 people, that all trickled. I also didn't like the way our company was being structured going towards the world I saw, which is a bigger impact around the volume of creative needed to be put out. So we, for the first time after going from 30 to 400 people in 3 years, we did a 35-person layoff. The company lost its mind. The overreaction, the stuff that and if you've been listening carefully, the stuff that I like to take subtle digs about, I so admire Europe, but there's subtle things I dig about. Ironically, I was being hypocritical. I was doing the same thing in my four walls. Probably why I've always loved these places, because I'm probably, as a human, I'm probably way more Sweden than I am Soviet Russia or even America. So it's interesting. That was a really important moment in my career, because a couple things. One, I'm gonna talk tomorrow about entitlement, and I'm gonna put pressure on the parents in the room saying, look, if you've been paying for everything for your kid, and then at 22 you tell them you're cut off, they're not prepared. And then they're gonna be mad at you. And we look as outsiders being mad at the kid, you entitled brat. You think you're entitled to $2,000 a month allowance from your parents, but you've trained them to not be capable. That's what I did at Vayner, and it was a painful year on our culture, and it's been a big teaching moment for me.
Are you more authentic now? Because you say
100%.
Because it surprised me when you say, I used the word dishonest, which was not fair. We should have used the word non-authentic, because you say that you love meeting people. You say you like to build relationships.
I do.
And I think authenticity is kind of the fuel for that process. So you're taking away an ingredient in that relationship.
It was
by not being completely honest.
100%. Now, what you can imagine though is the recipient of that lack of authenticity enjoyed the shit out of it, because it's just positive reinforcement instead of critical feedback. So both parties were quite happy for the majority of that relationship. It was only when I had to deal with the realities of the merit of running an organization that has consequences that I even had to address it. Yeah, it's not my favorite part. As you can imagine, one of the reasons I have such a big audience in the world is I can be 100% authentic with them, because I can't analyze the truth after I engage with them, because they move on to their lives and I'm not sitting there living. Unlike VaynerMedia, where after I tell Carol that she's the sweetest sweetheart of all time, that her strategy work is incredible, right? That she's a sunshine in the office, that she's always responsible and hardworking, and she leaves. Meanwhile, I know that clients aren't happy with her, or she's incapable of upselling a client, which is becoming detrimental to the business.
Your feedback wasn't very helpful then.
You're right. And so what's really fun about being a human being, especially one that's probably gifted with a lot of things that do make them successful, is going through the course of your career and deploying humility to understanding your own shortcomings, no matter how sweet they taste for both parties, and then adjusting. And I often have said that the 43-year-old version of me, even though the 25-year-old version of me thought he was gonna be great and thought he was naturally talented, the experience matters, and it's why I value experience.
It's great getting older.
It's great getting older, and so I'm proud of getting to a place in my life where I could recognize it and address it. And by the way, I'm still not all the way there. If we're calling on a scale of 1 to 10, I used to be a 1 or 2 on this. I'm probably a 5 to 7.5 on this right now, but I'm on my way to it being an 8 or 9. I'll never be a 10, it's not naturally in me. Not only am I proud that I've been able to move from 0 and 1 to 5 to 7, I'm proud that I'm in a place where I can articulate it for 10 minutes on a podcast, knowing that it can help somebody who naturally is in a juxtaposition similar to where I was, in the past.
In order to grow,